Good evening. My name is Don L. Vasquez. I am here to speak on the situation our country is in and what we need to do to change it. We have endured unremitting lies and the redirect of the issues important to our country. We are now suffering from the most blatant example of greed, corruption, deceit, impoverishment, and the erosion of our basic constitutional rights in both financial, economic, and medical needs. This has begun the most catastrophic chain of events our country has ever faced. Our sovereignty and freedoms are incompatible with greed and corruption of this magnitude. We have had enough, and we do not have to take any more. As an objection to these actions, the proper and necessary response is this. I now ask for your patience and your diligence to prepare ourselves to the task that is about to be set before us. That being said, I, Don L. Vasquez, being of sound mind and body, do hereby invoke the Declaration of Independence. When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bonds which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes that impel them to the separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, these governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive to these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation in such form as to them shall seem most likely to effect their safety and happiness. Prudence indeed will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes. And accordingly, all experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer, while evils are sufferable, than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. When a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future safety. To this point, we, the people, have the right to alter by replacement. We create from within ourselves our executive branch, House, Senate, and all of the political appointees that have carpetbagged our country into a siege state mentality in an attempt to drive us into division and psychological submission. This is a declaration for the people of the United States of America to separate ourselves from the Trump administration, all of the presidential political appointees, the House and Senate, both Democrat and Republican, and to put the Supreme Court, which has failed and betrayed the people for the last time, on notice that a lifetime appointment is no longer feasible to ensure justice and equity for the people, when that same institution has become politically compromised to allow a threat to our Constitution. We as human beings are not perfect, and at times we are fallible and forgiving, and yet we do have the capacity to change. To remember that we are not put on this earth to bow down to the will of one man and his followers, nor are we to remain silent in the face of the very destruction of our society. As Americans, we are 350 million people, 4 generations of the most inventive, competitive, selfless, and courageous Americans who ever walked this earth. We are now at the precipice and the most crucial moment in our history and existence. We must face this together. When the framers of the Constitution put forth the Declaration of Causes, to prove this, let the facts be submitted to a candid world. They submitted the following. 1. He has refused to assent to laws, the most wholesome and necessary for the public good. Number 2. He has forbidden his governors to pass laws of immediate and pressing importance unless suspended in their operation till his assent should be obtained. And when so suspended, he has utterly neglected to attend to them. Number 3, he has refused to pass other laws for the accommodations of large districts of people unless those people will relinquish the right of representation in the legislature, a right inestimable to them and formidable to tyrants only. 4, he has called together legislative bodies at places unusual and also uncomfortable and distant from the depository of public records for the sole purpose of fatiguing them into compliance with his measures. 5, he has dissolved the representative houses repeatedly for opposing with manly firmness his invasions on the rights of people. 6, he has refused for a long time, after such dissolutions, to cause others to be elected, whereby the legislative powers, incapable of annihilation, have returned to the people at large for their exercise, the state remaining in the meantime exposed to all the dangers of invasion from without and convulsions within. 7, he has endeavored to prevent the population of these states, for that purpose, obstructing the laws of naturalization of foreigners, refusing to pass others to encourage their migrations hither, and raising the conditions of new appropriation of lands. 8, he has obstructed the administration of justice by refusing his assent to laws or establishing judiciary powers. 9, he has made judges dependent on his will alone for the tenure of their offices and the amount of payment of their salaries. 10, he has erected a multitude of new offices and sent hither swarms of officers to harass our people and eat out their substance. 11, he has kept among us, in times of peace, standing armies without the consent of our legislatures. 12, he has affected to render the military independent of and superior to the civil power. 13, he has combined with others to subject us to jurisdiction foreign to our Constitution and unacknowledged by our laws, giving his assent to their acts of pretended legislation. 14, for quartering large bodies of armed troops among us. 15, for protecting them by mock trial from punishment for any murders which they should commit on the inhabitants of these states. 16, for cutting off our trade with all parts of the world. 17, for imposing taxes on us without our consent. 18, for depriving us in many cases the benefit of jury trial. 19, for transporting us beyond the seas to be tried for pretend offenses. 20, for abolishing the free system of English laws in a neighboring province, establishing therein an arbitrary government, and enlarging its boundaries to render it at once an example and fit instrument for introducing the same absolute rule unto these colonies. 21, for taking away our charters, abolishing our most valuable laws, and altering fundamentally the forms of our governments. 22, for suspending our own legislatures and declaring themselves invested with the power to legislate for us in all cases whatsoever. 23, he has abdicated government here by declaring us out of his protection and waging war against us. 24, he has plundered our seas, ravaged our coasts, burnt our towns, and destroyed the lives of our people. 25, he is at this time transporting large armies of foreign mercenaries to complete the works of death, desolation, and tyranny already begun with the circumstances of cruelty and perfidy scarcely paralleled in the most barbarous age and unworthy the head of a civilized nation. 26, he has constrained our fellow citizens, taken captive on the high seas, to bear arms against their country, to become the executioners of their friend and brethren. or to fall themselves by their hands. And 27. He has excited domestic insurrection among us, and has endeavored to bring the inhabitants of our frontiers, the merciless Indian savages whose known rule of warfare is the undistinguished destruction of all ages, sexes, and conditions. These examples show that the framers were dealing with corruption and greed and the moral and spiritual conflicts that exist in the human soul. Even by today's standard, we are still confronted by them. In fact, one may see many parallels today. The question is, what will we do? We must act. I know there are many people who are keeping track of all that transpired from the first Trump presidency and up to now. The government shutdown we are now in is a prime example of grievance for the sole purpose of fatiguing them into compliance with his measures. It is by intention that this is done. We can only wait to see what will be the result of this concession. Finally, I ask of our military, retired, reserve, active duty, and most recently, all who have been summarily dismissed or have resigned in disgust and opposition to the policies that have been put forth. I refer to the Uniform Code of Military Justice, Article 133, conduct unbecoming an officer and a gentleman, and also Article 134, conduct that harms good order and discipline. Citing the actions by a C&C that so disrespect or disregard for military procedures can result in the loss of confidence of the C&C's ability to lead. These are the tools necessary to put into question the ability to lead and the intent to which military action can be warranted. We, the people, have a window of opportunity to which we can act. It must be decisive. We must act together. I leave with this thought and prayer. Hebrews 13 and 18. Pray for us, for we are sure that we have a clear conscience, desiring to act honorably in all things. I thank you for your time and for your patience. Good evening.